you for joining me. Welcome to Yoga with Leslie Germain and Gimli Germain. Come here, baby. You have hair in your face. All right. Hopefully, you are all having a wonderful day. This is going to be one of my intermediate advanced classes. So hopefully you already have a little understanding of the yoga poses, because unlike the alignment-based classes where we can really slow things down and talk you through how to engage certain muscles or relax in certain poses, in these more intermediate classes, we're trying to challenge you more. And so we assume that when I say Warrior 2, you know exactly where we're going. And we move maybe a little bit at a quicker pace and give us time to play a little bit more than my regular flow classes. But I do try to make it all levels still, as much as I can. So you might not be able to make it into all of the poses, but we still move around in a way where most of the class is accessible to you. So like 95% of the class content will be accessible to your body. It just might be more challenging for you to feel. And so today I actually wanted to start doing a little exercise before we begin. And if you don't want to do this writing exercise, I understand. You can skip straight to the movement, and I will include in the description when that starts. So it'll be about 3 to 5 minutes from now. And also, if you can, get yourself 2 blocks and a wheel if you have one. If you don't have a wheel, that's fine. You can use the blocks instead, or you can even roll up a blanket in lieu of a block. Books work as well. You don't have to have these yoga props. Yes, it's fine. Just make sure to close the door and try to stay quiet, okay? Yoga with children. Okay, so if you want to do this little writing experiment, go ahead, press pause, go grab a piece of paper and a pen, and we will begin with a few writing prompts. And the reason that I think this is really nice is because it gives us time for self-reflection. So you may have heard the saying, especially from yoga teachers right now, how important yoga is right now, how yoga is needed now more than ever. And the reason we're saying this is not because we want you guys to be working out at home and it's a practice that you can do safely in your 4 walls. It's because yoga is more than this movement. It's more than an exercise. It goes deep inside, and if you've been doing and practicing yoga enough, it's actually able to heal you in a powerful way. So I am a really big fan of practicing trauma-informed yoga. In my classes, I'm always asking people to go inside and to help try to heal themselves. So we're not constantly living in judgment or living in suffering or all these different ways that we just go by in life being. All right, so hopefully you have your pen and paper now. So the first question, and this is going to just be like purging, just whatever comes out, comes out. So don't worry about being grammatical or like a brilliant English speaker here. Just write down thoughts. It can be bullet point, it can be brainstorming, it can be one thing after the next that don't even connect together. Whatever comes to mind. And each question, there will be 3, will have about 1 minute where we can respond to ourselves, okay? So the first question is going to be, what's your story? And I will be writing with us. I wish I had my timer right now. Where is it? But I'll guess what a minute feels like. So the first question is, what's your story? And so what do I mean by that? Basically, we're all in this very unique situation while we're sheltering in place. And this is the first time this ever happened in the last 100-something years, right? Where we're all being asked to remain safe within our house and try to decrease the amount of time that we go out in public unless we have a job that is essential. And we all have our different stories. So I want to know what your story is. So you have about a minute to write down, like, for example, I am a stay-at-home mom and a yoga teacher, but now I am at home with my husband and my 2 children. And I would write basically about that and maybe how that feels for me. So go ahead and spend 1 minute writing down, what's your story? About 10 more seconds to start finishing up that last thought you had. Okay, I know you want to keep writing. I get it. I'm always like furiously trying to finish my sentences, but we want to get moving soon. So that was our story. Question number 2, and it might sort of already have been talked about in number 1, but question number 2 is what has changed for you? What has changed? And by that, I don't just mean like that you're stuck at home and you might not be able to work right now. You can also go deeper than that if you'd like. You can be very superficial and just talk about the physical things that have changed for you, or you could talk about more of the emotional changes that might be happening, anything at all that comes to mind. Okay, so what has changed in this last 5 or 6 weeks? If you're watching this live, if you're watching this in the future, you know, what has changed this last week for you? Okay, and let's begin. We have about 10 more seconds for this writing prompt.
I need to check if anything's on Bluetooth. I'm not sure if it's on Bluetooth.
No, it's not. You're okay.
Hey,
Go ahead.
how do you know?
And finish that thought, Nora. I know, 1 second. Okay, sorry.
How do you know?
I think it's okay. Go try it.
Just check.
I already checked, honey.
Mm-mm.
This is what yoga at home is like now. See, it's fine. It's on here. Okay? You're like, yes, I gotta finish my thought. Thank you, Anara. All right, so the last question is maybe the hardest one or the trickiest one, and we might be too close to the situation at hand to be able to write too much about this, but we want to try. And so the last question is, what gifts have you received from this sheltering in place? And so I can tell a quick story about this. For example, I was asked in December, one of my friends, she teaches oceanography at a local university here, and she asked me if I would take over her class when she started maternity leave this year. And I told her, sure, that'd be fine. I have a PhD in oceanography. It would have taken a lot of work to get myself back up to speed because it's been like 8 years since I've been in that field, but it sounded fun and exciting, you know, and I was willing to try. It was a little bit too short of a time change for the university to hire me, so I ended up not getting the job, and I was a little upset about it, right? A little hurt. And it's funny because she texted me last week and she's like, aren't you excited or glad that you didn't end up getting that job because you'd be teaching it online right now, like not just having to deal with like relearning the topics and presenting them in a PowerPoint and doing the labs, but now having to change all that into this new way of teaching that a lot of teachers are doing right now, and it's a lot. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what a gift, right? Like the universe knew that this was gonna happen, maybe in some way, and they're like, you know what, Leslie, you don't need that job because you're gonna have enough to do when it comes time to shelter in place. And so I am just so grateful in hindsight that I didn't get that job opportunity. And so I was hurt by it, but now I am grateful. So I have that opportunity to look back on it though and reflect. And so we might not be able to do that for so many things right now, but we're gonna try. So you have about a minute now to write about what the gifts are that you are receiving while we're stuck at home And you might take it from an environmental slant, talking about how nature finally gets a chance to take a deep breath without all that human disturbance and pollution. Or you might go in a different direction and talk about the gift of time, or whatever you feel that you can talk about right now, that you can see. Okay? And go. About 10 more seconds, finish it up. All right. Okay, so now we've answered some questions. Hopefully it's a little bit healing, just getting pen to paper and writing down what's actually going on up in our heads right now, and physically putting it out there right here, you know. And because a lot of the times we get stuck in the negativity. Our minds naturally go there. It's easy for our mind to go to the negatives, and to see the gifts, it's more challenging. And so hopefully you had a few gifts on there. I know my main gift is the gift of time with my family, because usually we're rushing around from place to place. My husband's always gone 12 hours plus a day, and it's nice that he's working from home right now. I mean, he's mostly working. He's working just as much, but at least he's in the same building as me. So I hope you all have similar gifts that help make your heart feel a little better throughout everything else that's happening right now. Okay, so we'll just put our pen and paper aside, and after the practice, if you want to continue writing more, feel free. And I would love if you feel comfortable commenting below, maybe even right now, since you haven't started your practice yet, just putting in the comments what one of your gifts was, sharing that with everybody else, because I'm sure that we can all connect to each other. And sometimes when you say something that is just a little bit better in your life right now, we might be able to self-reflect and be like, you know what, you're right. I didn't notice that, but now that you've said it, I am seeing that. So it could be a way for us to share together. All right, we're gonna find our way to our mat. Time to start the practice. And we're gonna start on our wheel if you have one. I'll show you what I'm gonna do on my wheel. If you don't have a wheel, I will also show you how to do the same exact thing on a block, but we're basically just starting in a gentle back bend. And so if you have the wheel, cool. It allows you to get to these back bends a little safer or slower. And so you can choose where you want your arms to be. If you keep your arms hugging into you, if you open them all out wide, you can play with how it feels. And if you're on the wheel, feel free to roll yourself out, up and down, and just take it slow, no rush. If you want to use the blocks, you can use 1 or 2 blocks. And I like to start on the lowest setting, because you don't know what's going on back there right now, not until you lay down. So what you want to do is take the block into the mid-back area. So if you're a woman and you have a bra, it's basically right there where your bra line is. If you're a gentleman, it's kind of like underneath your armpits a little bit. You know, I think you can figure it out. Lay down on your block. And you can have the second block underneath your head if you'd like. That helps sort of allow your back body to rest before going too deep. You can also remove the block or increase the block to a higher setting at any point. And like I said, if you don't have blocks or wheels or anything, feel free to take a blanket and roll it up nice and tight and place it underneath the mid-back there. We're just looking for anywhere to find a deep stretch in the body, the back body. You can even lay off the edge of your bed. So your legs and butt are on the bed, and you start to just lay at the edge and allow your body to fall over like a waterfall. So there's lots of different options for you. We're going to be here about a minute, okay? Just feeling it out. And like I said, you can move your arms around, noticing how you can create more space either in your shoulders, the chest area. And notice what happens if you straighten the legs or keep your feet down on the ground with your knees pointing up. They both will feel different in the back body. And then bring awareness to your breath wherever you are, keeping your breath smooth and slow. So if you want to increase the height of your block, go ahead. If you're on your bed, scoot down a little bit more. Try to feel this in a different area of your back. You can even move the block around a little bit. We'll be here about 15, 20 more seconds or so. Taking your final few breaths. Where can you soften? Where are you still holding on to tension? Can you let that go just a little bit? And we're going to slowly all find our way down to a seat, removing our props. Just take a moment here, closing your eyes, noticing how that feels. So we just did that writing activity, which sort of gets us in our head and our mind, and we're going to come back out of that now and come back to the breath. Come back to the body. So that's a nice quick way to help you feel in your body when we use those props to support us in opening up a little bit faster than if we were just moving through it. So feel what you just created in there. Bring your awareness to the upper back, the shoulders, the top chest, and then maybe travel down the spine and just see if it feels a little softer, a little more supple. And we're going to begin with a twist, bringing your knees up, feet together. Inhale, send your left arm up high. Exhale as you twist over to the right. Your right hand can come down to your side or right behind you, a little bit diagonal. And notice if you're hunching here, try to sit up straight so you can use your hand to push yourself up a little taller. Inhale as you lengthen that spine, and then exhale with your breath, twist a little bit deeper, and not forcing it so we're not pulling on our legs with our arm here to find that space. We're using our breath. The inhale creates more length, and the exhale softens the belly, and we can create a little more space and twistiness in our body. One more. Squeeze those knees together for that last one, especially if they're really pulling apart. Squeeze them with your legs, not your arm. Awesome. Exhale, release. And let's do the other side. As you inhale, send your right arm up high. Create that length. Feel your tailbone root, the crown of your head reach up a little higher. And then exhale as you twist to the left side. Using those inner thighs to hug your legs together. And with each inhale, sitting up a little bit taller. And the exhale, just feeling it out. You might already be at your maximum twist. And you just hold it and breathe. Last breath. Awesome. Exhale, release. Bring your knees out a little bit wider. Wrap your arms under your legs and allow your head and neck to hang here. And we're going to play with a 3-part breath here. Inhaling to the top chest, into the rib cage, down to the belly, and hold. Exhale, belly, rib cage, chest, hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. And do that a few more times, keeping your body in a relaxed state. Especially when you're holding, if you're noticing anything clench up, your jaw, your shoulders, your fingers. Don't breathe quite as deep if that's what happens. Maybe go to 80%, not 100%. Last one. Okay. Rolling yourself up, we're going to we'll do one more thing on our butt before we find our way up. So bring your hands to the tops of your shoulder heads. And they're like a little claw-like action here. You don't need to have your palms down. You can have your fingertips right on top. And then we're going to draw our elbows as close together as possible, up to the sky and back. So we're drawing big circles with our elbows. And notice when you draw the elbows back, if you're able to squeeze your shoulder blades together a little bit here. And not rushing too quickly here, taking your time. You might feel a little bit of stickiness in your rotator cuff, your shoulder area. So maybe move a little bit wider and a little bit slower so you can create more space and fluidity. Last one. And we're going to switch direction. This time the elbows go back and forward. If you were a swimmer, this is kind of like a butterfly stroke. I was a swimmer. I know you can tell I have huge arms, right? I was not the best swimmer. I was good, but I wasn't the best. I need a little bit bigger feet, I think. All right. Release the hands down to the ground. Close your eyes, pause and feel. Just starting a little bit of movement, moving our wrists, open your eyes. Wrist circles here. As we find our way up into a standing position, you might need to roll yourself to get up. Just finding your way up nice and tall. We're going to move our hips a little bit here, so walking our legs out into a pretty wide stance. Maybe as wide as you might do in goddess pose. And then we're going to take our hands to our hips and start to draw big, big circles. So we haven't done anything in the legs at all, or the glutes. So don't worry about making the biggest circle possible here. We really want to try to keep this movement in the hips. It's like a little luau dance. You know, you might feel a little segmented. Like for me, I can feel like, oh, we go here, and then we go here, and we go here. You know, you can feel a little bit of a little snap and pop movement. And see if you can try to make it a little more fluid, more organic feeling. Okay, and then reverse direction. Keep those feet nice and rooted, so you might have to have a soft bend in the knees. That's perfectly fine. Notice what happens when you bend the knees a little bit. Does it allow you to find more freedom in the hips? Got a lot of snapping going on in there. Okay, to the front of the mat. Toes touched, heels slightly apart. Inhale, coming down to chair pose. Exhale, hands to heart center, soften the knees, forward fold. Inhale as you come back up to chair. Exhale, soften the knees, forward fold. So you can keep moving like this with your breath. Inhale, chair. Or add on, exhale, interlace the hands behind your back, forward fold. Try to keep your belly and thighs touching. Inhale. Exhale. Make your breath a little bit slower. Inhale. Exhale. 4 more. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, lift the heels off the ground when you go into chair. And if you fall, that's okay. Usually you just fall right back on your feet. The last 2. Keep squeezing those inner thighs and knees towards each other. Last 1. Exhale, forward fold, interlace the hands. If you haven't yet, allow them to move away from your body. And maybe you heel toe your feet a little bit further apart here, so they're a little more than mat distance apart. Keep a bend in the knees, so your belly and thighs are still touching. But this way it allows your belly sort of to move in between that gap, in between your knees. So then you might be able to drop your head and neck down to the ground a little bit more and find a little more freedom in those shoulders. If you'd like to start swaying left to right a little bit here, go ahead. Keep the bend in the knees unless you're super flexible and you can keep straight legs and your belly and thighs touching. Releasing your hands, slowly rolling up 1 vertebrae at a time. Take your time, no rush. Inhale as you sweep your arms up, palms touch at the top. Exhale, hands together, heart center. Close your eyes. Find your breath. So if you'd like to Om with me, if that's a part of your practice, take a deep inhale. Exhale fully. Inhale. Reminding yourself about one of the gifts that you wrote down. Knowing that through all of this hardships and change, that there are gifts. Most of them we don't even know about yet. If you were to look back on that thing you wrote even a month from now, I bet there'd be more to add to your list. Inhale, sweeping your arms up. Exhale, chair pose. Oh my goodness, Leslie, what in the heck is up with your chair today? I know. Exhale, palms come together, heart center. Lifting that right leg off the ground. So maybe your toes come just right behind you and lower to the ground. Maybe you're able to squeeze the hamstring and draw your foot towards your sit bone. So if you need to have your foot on the ground, go ahead, but play with lifting that leg. A little flamingo-like movement. And maybe you stay here, or maybe you come down halfway, bowing flamingo. One more breath. Exhale, taking that right foot, keeping it lifted if you can as you slowly bring it back into a high lunge. So if your foot was on the ground, slide it back, high lunge. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, dropping the right hand behind you, reaching for that back thigh. As you inhale, send the left arm up, opposite from the right hand. See if you can create more space from the hip bone through the armpit on that left side. And maybe you add a little back bend here as you push the right hand into that hamstring. And it's like a little camel back bend. So we're feeling the back bend just like we did on our block not too long ago. We're not bending here, we're bending here. So to create the bend, to keep the bend from being in your low back, you can sort of draw the belly button into the spine slightly. And then while using that right hand, push the sternum up, chest forward. If you push that hand into your leg, you might be able to create a little more space as you lift the spine up. So we're lengthening the spine and then bending. One more breath. Exhale, we're gonna switch. Backstroke here. Left hand down, right arm up. If you can, find the leg. If you can't find the leg, that's okay. You can bring your hand to the low back glute area. Draw the belly button into the spine. Keep a bend in the front knee. Keep reaching back. Maybe a little back bend. Exhale, windmilling both hands down to the ground. The left foot comes back for downward facing dog. If you want to walk your dog out here, go ahead. Keeping your hips high. Heels reaching for the ground. And working on equal weight in the hands and the feet. So if you're feeling that there's more weight in your hands, bend the knees a little bit to lift your hips a little higher, and your hips will travel back towards the back of the mat. You'll notice that there's a little less weight in your hands when that happens, which if you're a woman, thank goodness, our upper body strength, huh? Spinal roll yourself forward as you exhale, upper back curves, mid back curves, low back, everything flattens into high plank pose for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, knees down, chest down, chin down. On your exhale, push up cobra. Walk your hands in an inch. Inhale, lift a little bit higher. Let's try that again, okay? Take a deep inhale, hands under shoulders. On your exhale, lift into cobra. You're not even using your hands at all. Walk them in an inch, and then inhale, lift with a soft bend in the elbows, the eyes of the elbows reaching forward. Last one. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, lift. Inhale, rise a little higher. Downward facing dog. Inhale, send your right leg up high. Exhale, bring the right foot through in between your hands. Root the feet. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale as the left hand comes down behind you, reaching for that back leg. If you feel like you can't find that back leg, see if you can straighten the bend in the knee just a little bit more. So you're pushing into your hand. Keep that right arm lifted and breathe here as you find length in the spine, lifting your sternum up and away from the rib cage. So we're creating more space right here. Lengthening the front body. Beautiful, one more breath. Feel that back bend. Exhale, back stroke, right hand down, left arm up. If you can find the leg, awesome. If you can't, push into your low back. You can even go for a little bind if that feels a little better in your body. Working with your own capabilities. But once again, not sinking in that back knee, really pushing the kneecap up and away. So then you can push your hand into your leg to find more space and freedom. Beautiful, one more breath. Exhale, windmill your hands down to the ground. Step the right foot back, downward facing dog. Spinal roll yourself forward all the way. Lower the hips slightly for upward facing dog with toes tucked. Don't worry about how deep it is. Notice if your shoulder blades are squeezing forward, peel them back. Exhale, lift the hips. Down dog. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhale, segmenting your spine. And then eventually dropping the hips. Peeling the shoulder heads away from each other. Last one. Leading with the core. Let those ab muscles guide you up and down. Strong legs. Downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, bringing both knees down to the ground, pivoting that right foot so it's out to the side off your mat. Finding your way into a supported side plank. Top arm reaching up overhead. So notice if your shoulder is directly over your wrist, find some placement for that. If it's not, move it so it is, and you're trying to be in one line here. Root that left foot so we're not bouncing on the edge of the foot. The whole sole of that left foot is down on the ground. Inhale, send that right knee off the ground as much as you can. A little oblique work here. If you want to work a little bit more, straighten the leg. Maybe reach for the leg by bending the knee. and taking the knee to the arm, knee to the arm, knee to the arm. One more. And then kick that leg back out in front of you. Exhale, release the knee back down, pivot the foot, quarter moon. Gazing up at your left hand if that feels okay. Bending that top leg if you like, reaching back for the pinky edge side of the foot, and then kicking the foot into your hand. Belly travels towards the left edge of your mat. Keep kicking your foot into your hand to feel a little more space in the collarbone and shoulders. One more breath. Exhale, release. Taking that right leg, kicking it out long for side plank Vashisthasana. Maybe your left leg travels up for a tree version. Maybe you take that foot, grab on, and kick the leg straight. For 3, 2, 1. Exhale, drop the foot, come down, rest all the way down to your belly. Arms down to your sides. Feel free to do little wrist circles here. We did a lot with that right wrist. You can even take that right hand, grab onto the wrist right below, an inch or so, and do wrist circles that way behind your back. And then squeeze your hands together, widen the fingers away from each other. Squeeze, widen, squeeze, widen. And then relax, rest. So I'm going to turn around so you can see that on the left side with my body facing you, my voice facing you, most importantly. I want you to be able to hear me. So pushing yourself up either through plank or child's pose and finding your way eventually into downward facing dog. Dropping that left leg down to left leg down to the ground, pivoting to that right sole of the foot. So that left foot, once again, instead of keeping it in the same line as your knee, allow the foot to pivot slightly. That gives you a little bit more balance, okay? Right arm reaches up overhead. Find length from that back heel all the way through your fingertips. Hopefully you can feel a nice stretch along the whole side of the body. And then we can play around with that bottom leg. Maybe you lift it an inch. Maybe it comes back down. You might have to reposition the shoulder so it's underneath, shoulder to shoulder. Lift the leg. Maybe you kick it out. Maybe you want to go for a little, we're not going into Vishvamitrasana, but we're playing with it by taking our hand to the pinky edge side and drawing our knee to our arm. Knee to arm. Just playing with getting the knee to the arm. Don't worry about extending the leg out yet. Maybe one day. Awesome. Exhale, bring the foot forward and let it go. Top arm reaches up overhead. Coming into quarter moon here, make sure that back foot is pivoted so you can bring your weight into the left hand, lifting the right leg up to the sky. Right arm reaches up towards the ceiling. And if you feel nice and stable here, maybe bending that right leg, reaching back, going into a back bend here. Need to move my left hand a little bit. There we go. Maybe drawing the crown of your head back to your foot, pushing your belly towards the edge of your mat for 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Exhale, bring that right foot back down. Coming into Vashisthasana as you lift that left leg and slide it to meet the right. If you want to play with tree here, take that right leg, slide it up, slide it up, slide it up. If you want to reach for the foot, take the knee, find those toes, and kick that foot up to the sky. Steady gaze wherever you are for 3. Lift that hip up, 2, and 1. Exhale, coming down into plank pose. Taking 1 inhale here. Exhale, knees, chest, chin, everything down to the ground. Rest your other cheek. We can do wrist circles again here. Taking your right hand, reaching for the left wrist, and then doing some rolls here. And then shake, shake, shake. Fingers clench. Maybe you knock. And then open, fingers clench, maybe you knock, drawing your wrists or drawing your fingers in towards the inner forearm. And then open wide one more time, clench, knock, hold, open. Awesome. Bring your arms down to your sides, relax everything that you can. So we're gonna try to push ourselves up into plank pose from here. If you already know how to get into plank from here, go ahead. Find your way into downward dog, maybe doing a full vinyasa. If you're playing with pushing yourself up, because we go down a lot, but we don't always pull up, right? So we're gonna try that. Tucking your toes, walking your feet in so your kneecaps and maybe your thighs lift. Hands remain under shoulder blades. Squeeze those elbows in and in. So notice if your shoulder heads are drooping, lift them up, peel them away, okay? Now, you have a strawberry underneath your belly button. You don't want to squish it. Push your hands into the ground. Lift, push, push, push. Keep lifting the shoulder heads. Keep straightening the arms until eventually that strawberry becomes a watermelon. Plank pose, downward facing dog. We'll be here for 3 breaths. How'd you do? You're like, Leslie, I'm still doing child's pose. Okay, that's cool. Just build little baby strength. You lift up a little higher, a little higher, a little higher, and then one day you can push yourself all the way up. Inhale, send the right leg up high. Stack the hips. Lift the left heel. Exhale, lower the heel as you draw your right knee in, dropping the foot in between your hands. Back heel pivots. Inhale, warrior 2. Keeping a bend in that front knee as you exhale, send the right fingertips towards the front of your mat. The left hip keeps going back. Keep sending the right fingertips forward as you come down to an elbow, extended side angle pose. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you take that left hand, draw the thumb back in this internal rotation. Go for the bind. Dipping that right shoulder low enough where you can find both hands. Right hand reaches around, grabs the left. Beautiful. Keep twisting the chest open towards the left. And then inhale, come up. Triangle pose as you straighten the front leg. Exhale, reach, reach, reach. Left hip back, right fingertips forward until eventually you cannot go any further. Letting the hand come down to the ground. Stacking wrist over wrist. So maybe you stay here in triangle pose, or maybe you go for the bind here. So I recommend to go for the bind here, bending your knee a little bit, reaching back, finding your bind, and then slowly begin to straighten that right leg as you fold forward over the front leg. Keep twisting, spiraling the rib cage towards the left. Awesome. Strong feet. Last breath. Exhale. Bring your hands to frame the front foot, rooting that right foot as you lift the left leg up into the sky. Inhale. Exhale, drawing the knee to the outside of the right calf. Inhale, back up. If you've done my classes in real life, you know I love this thing. Exhale, down. Inhale. See how light you can be on your hands. Exhale. Maybe you can even bring your hands to heart center. Maybe just one hand lifts. Let's do one more. Reach the feet as high away from each other as possible. Exhale. Bring that right knee all the way down to the ground on the pinky edge side of your foot. So if you came down to the ground, you might look something like this. If you're able to keep both sit bones down on the ground, awesome. If not, straighten that left leg. And if that still doesn't work, find something to sit on, a blanket, a pillow, whatever you need. Inhale. Sending, which arm are we doing? Left arm up high. Exhale, twisting to your right. See if you can squeeze those knees a little bit closer together. You might be able to walk that right foot in slightly, getting into a tight little ball. And if you want to go for the bind here, trying to take that left hand, bringing it through that little hole in that right leg, and then grabbing and twisting. Oh yeah. The last part of the pose is looking over that right shoulder. Once again, we're not forcing ourselves into this pose by using our arms and twisting. We're guiding ourselves with our breath. Exhale as you unwind completely to the left, bowing gently. Rooting both hands into the front of your mat, rooting the right foot. The left leg reaches back up to the sky, standing splits. If you want to play with balance, first taking that right hand and then taking it to the back. I don't know if you can see. To the back shin or calf, and then squeezing that elbow into the knee. Feeling steadiness there, steady gaze wherever you are. Engage the bandhas. Maybe that left hand becomes a little lighter until you feel the left hand grab on behind the right, squeezing those elbows into the knee, hugging here. Let your head hang heavy, steady gaze, don't lose that gaze. One more breath. Exhale, bringing both hands down to the ground and jumping yourself back, finding your way back into downward facing dog. Maybe do a little handstand play. Shifting your weight forward, high plank, inhale. Exhale, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, sending your left leg up high, stacking the hips. Right heel lifts up as high as it can. Lift the left leg up a little bit higher. Exhale, bring the foot through, let it land. Back heel pivots, warrior two. Starting to build some sweat, so I'm gonna put my hair up. Ponytail. All right, finding your way into your extended side angle pose. Keeping a nice bend in that front knee, reaching the left fingertips towards the front of your mat and passing that, going as far as possible. And then the left elbow comes down as the top arm reaches down and up overhead. So you can stay here. It's perfectly fine. If you want to go for the bind, take that top arm, draw the thumb towards the front, an inner spiral. And then eventually you bend the elbow, the back of the hand finds the hip. Drop the torso so the left arm can swing around. Reach back and grab that right arm. And then once again, spiral the rib cage. Twisting open. Strong legs. All right, inhale, coming back up to warrior two as you straighten the front knee. Exhale, triangle pose. Trikonasana. Notice if you're collapsing on that left side, it's okay to come up slightly if that's happening for your body. How can you engage your core slightly here? And if you want to go for the binded triangle, bend the knee just enough where you can find the bind, and then start to push that left foot into the ground as you lift your hips up and away from you, bowing over the front leg. So you might still have to have a pretty big bend in the knee for your bounded triangle. That's okay. Over time, the more you practice this pose and hang out here, the more you'll be able to lengthen that leg. Exhale, releasing your hands to frame the front foot, stepping the right foot up high, standing splits on your inhale. Exhale, bending the knee, taking to the outside, left calf for a little hover. Yes, inhale. Exhale, hover. How light can you be on your hands? 3 more. Last one. Slowly finding your way all the way down. Knee comes down to the ground. Inhale, sending your right arm up. Exhale, twist. Left hand drops behind you. If you want to go for the bind and it felt okay on the other side, you want to first reach. So before grabbing your arm and just twisting it through here, you want to bring the belly over a little bit more. So what I do is when I lift up, I reach, and it's like a little twist. Twist, twist, twist. You might even need to bring your belly. Take that left hand, grab some of that skin, bring it around. Then you bend the elbow and try to squeeze that hand through. Perhaps you're able to find your grip back there. No big deal if you can't. Sit up tall as you can and breathe here for 3. Take an inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, soften. Last breath. Bowing to the right side. Gentle forward fold. Left foot is now your root. Bring all the weight into your left foot as you begin to lift the hips. Lift the right leg off the ground for your standing splits. And this is where you're going to go for the balance. If you want to go for the balance, do the left hand first this time. So the hand that's on the outer edge of the foot. Hug that around the calf. Squeeze the elbow in. Find a steady gaze, something unmoving. See how light you can get on those fingertips. Maybe the right hand comes in. Maybe it doesn't. You play. Where can you go? Where can you root so you can rise? One more breath. Exhale, bringing your hands down to the ground. Left foot lowers to meet the right. Inhale, chair pose. Coming into our flamingo on the other side, hands come down to heart center. You can take that left foot back like you did on the right side perhaps. Pushing the toes down, squeezing those knees in towards each other. Okay, so those knees are still in contact. Maybe you add a hamstring curl into here and lift that left foot off the ground. Maybe you go a little bit deeper, bowing halfway. Engaging the belly button into the spine and holding here for 3. Keep squeezing the knees together. 2. And 1. Exhale, release. Inhale, sweeping your arms up. Stand tall. Exhale, mountain pose. Pause and feel. Walking your feet a little bit more than mat distance apart. Inhale, sending your arms up. As you exhale, right hand comes down to the ground. Lift through that left side. So lengthen as much as you can, leaning over. It's almost like you can touch the wall to the right of you. Take your breath, inhale, feel how that creates more space along the rib cage, torso, and then exhale, switching sides, reaching and leaning. So notice if you're in between 2 panes of glass, that's what you want to do. So sometimes you'll notice you're doing a little back bend here or a forward bend. We want to try to stay right here. There's a pane here and a pane here. And I'm simply leaning over to the left, squished in between. It's like in the Grand Canyon, they have those little areas. Oh, thank you. I prefer my big wide open spaces. So we'll use imagination here. One more breath. And then exhale, coming back up. Hands come back to hips. Do those big hip circles again. I'm gonna go shut my girls' bedroom door. You keep moving those hips. Okay, finding your way back to the front of your mat if you're not already there. We're gonna come back into that little flamingo pose. Inhale, chair. Exhale, bringing hands to heart center. I'm gonna face you, hopefully this works out okay. Twisting over to the right. Pushing that right hand into the left. Maybe you stay here, maybe you open your arms out wide. Left fingertips grazing the ground. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you flamingo that left leg. Steady gaze, squeeze that left heel into the right sit bone, or left sit bone. Maybe you want to go for a little compass here by bending. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn around so you can see this. Like, what is she talking about? Keeping that left hand down on the ground. And then taking that foot, drawing it forward, you're gonna take your hand around to the pinky edge side, start to drop the hips down slightly. And then twisting here, trying to get your head underneath the shoulders. Okay, this is an interesting compass, yes. But we try. One more breath. Breathe into the side body. Keep pushing that foot away from you. And then exhale, finding your way back up. Feet come together. Exalting, arms out wide. This time we can go into a little grasshopper. Maybe that compass seemed impossible. That's okay, we'll try grasshopper now. Left foot lifts. Reach back for the pinky edge side again. This time the left hand, instead of being on the pinky edge side of the right foot, we're taking it to the other side, the outside of your mat. And then drop the hips. Kick the foot away from you. A little bit different. A little bit the same. One more breath. Exhale, release your hips down to the ground. Right leg is over the left. Taking our right hand around the right leg and coming into that half archer's pose. So kicking our leg straight, bending the knee. It's like a half happy baby while we're seated. And drawing that knee back, kicking it forward. Then we're just flossing our hips here. A little bit, 4, 3, 2. Last one. Maybe you can talk to your ear or your banana phone, your foot phone. Hello, hello, yes, okay. All right, cross that right foot over for figure 4. You can either do figure 4 or maybe come into lotus, half lotus here. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale into your forward fold. So if you need to place a block underneath that left knee or a blanket or bend the front knee, go ahead. Try to keep that front foot flexed so the toes are pointing up and you're pushing energy out through your heel. Soften your head and neck. If you want to add a little bit of a twist to this pose, right hand reaches across the foot, grip the pinky edge side, and then take the left hand, reach back and twist. Slowly roll yourself up. Right leg reaches out long. Actually, let's do butterfly pose. Feet go together before we go to the other side. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, coming down to your forearms. Or if you need the blocks, place the blocks underneath your forearms. Allow your head and neck to soften here as you push your feet together. And breathe. Maybe walk your forearms out a little bit further away. The longer we're in this pose, the more open your hips become. The inner thighs can soften. And maybe your chest and belly can touch your feet. This pose comes naturally to me, so don't compare yourself to other people in the room. Look around your room right now. You're probably the best yogi in the room right now, yeah? The only person we can compare ourselves to is ourselves every single day. Noticing how we feel. And not judging ourselves, but loving ourselves. So we're working on how we can become compassionate to ourselves, not judge me. It's so easy to judge. To say, oh, you could do that a month ago. You could do that then, or you'll never be able to do that. You can say that. But is that coming from a place of love and compassion, which is what we want to be as yogis? No. So we start the work on ourselves first. So if you notice that negative dialogue occurring, shift it. Every single time, shift it. Say, you know what? Look at you. You've been practicing yoga now. We're 45 minutes into the practice, I think. I'm not really sure. Something like that. Okay? You showed up. You showed up, and that is doing the work. All right. We're going to find our way up. It's not the flowiest way, but we're going to come back onto our feet into mountain pose. Inhale, send your arms up. Root your feet, reach your arms up a little bit longer. Maybe you send your hips forward, a little back bend here. Keep sending the sternum up, hips forward. One more breath. Exhale, release. Okay, we're going to try that crazy compass to baby grasshopper on the other side now. And so if you're not able to get your fingertips on the ground, got delivery, then a lot of your work is really working that twist. And so maybe if you're feeling tired, you can take a couple of those twists that we were doing earlier, such as this, And just playing around with finding that space in the vertebrae, because each spine vertebrae is twisting a little bit more, and they each have a maximum range, right? And so you have to sort of unlock the low back, mid back, upper back to find that deep twist. It can't just be in one spot, or you'll never get there unless you're a contortionist, which I am not. Okay? Coming into your chair pose. Exhale, hands come together. This time we're twisting that right elbow over the left outer thigh. So you can push here. This is where I do push. I'm taking my left hand and I am pushing in hard so I can draw my belly through. And then I open out my arm out wide. So yay, my right fingertips are now on the ground. Left arm reaches up. Awesome. Once those fingertips on the ground, it frees you up to play, because now you have 2 points of balance once you lift that right leg off the ground. Right leg lifts off the ground. Squeeze those knees together. Okay? Maybe you stay here. Maybe you start to unbend the knee, taking that foot forward. That left arm is going to reach for the pinky edge side of the foot as you start to lower the hips and twist. Oh my gosh, I'm not doing it so well on this side. But we want to do a little compass. So we want that right arm going through, and we're trying to twist the rib cage open to the left. I'm just going to cheat and bring my right hand out to the side. That's not going to really count though. But you know, I can feel it, right? Exhale, finding your way back into your exalted chair. And this time we can go for that baby grasshopper, bending the knee. This one's a little easier for my body. Right hand now moves to the outside, diagonal to the left foot. Bend back there, reach for the foot. Start to sink the hips, pushing that foot away from you. See if you can find balance on that left leg. Pushing the right thigh into the shin bone. Maybe that right hand can come up for a little balance. We'll see. One more breath. Exhale as you lower the hips all the way down to the ground, finding your way down to the ground wherever you are. This time the right leg is long, left leg crosses over that right thigh. What do we do here? See, this is what happens when I'm practicing with you. I get tired. I know we did figure 4 eventually. I feel like that's not what we did initially though. Should we do a little twist? I don't know, I apologize. If you know what we did, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going into my figure 4. Inhale, sending your arms up. Exhale, come forward and down. So if you'd rather do lotus, you can bring that foot up into the right hip flexor and bend forward here. Allow your neck and head to soften, shoulders draw away from the ears. Slow down your breath. Inhale, coming up. Left leg goes out long. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Paschimottanasana. There's a reason why us yoga teachers are afraid of YouTube. It's because when we mess up, we can't fix it. It's just what it is. We've put it out there. Press play with all my mistakes, with all my inconsistencies, my imperfections. It's out there for the world to see. So there's a lot of vulnerability and bravery that we have to do as a yoga teacher to post to YouTube. I know that I mess up every single time, but I've come to accept that that's just part of the game. And thank you for your compassion to me and letting me mess up sometimes, okay? Inhale, come up. We're gonna come into froggy pose, finding our way to our knees. So I like to have both my knees on my mat here. I have other teachers who actually suggest to have your knees off the mat because then you have the ability to slide your legs out longer. That's up to you. So if you're super flexible and you're not worried about dropping into full splits, then go ahead. Practice frog on a slippery surface like a wooden floor or a carpet. I'm gonna stay on my sticky mat where I can control how deep I move into frog pose. So frog pose, we have our knees wide and our ankles are in line with our knees. Come down to your forearms or to a block. And the trick in froggy pose is instead of leaning your weight forward, which is what you want to do naturally because it gets rid of any pain whatsoever, we want to actually draw our hips back. So sending the pelvis back and doing a little bit of a belly button tuck so we're not dropping here into a back bend. Our belly is still engaged. And we're going to hang out here for about a minute. So this is why if you are wanting to play with a little bit more flexibility and you want to move yourself off the mat, go ahead. I'm not so concerned about that. I just don't want to break myself. Last week I was practicing this pose and my 5-year-old came and she loves to jump on my back in yoga and I was like, no. Not this pose, honey. Not this pose. Oh my God, I need a hip replacement. I can't afford a hip replacement right now. Ay. So no kids on your back for this pose, okay guys? Now that we've been here a minute, see if you can draw your knees a little bit further away from each other and keep pushing those hips back towards your feet. Maybe a little pulsing action. You might not stay very long. It's just a baby pulse. Soften your shoulders. You might even be able to drop down to your chest with your elbows wide. Awesome. Pushing yourself back up, walking your knees back in. Inhale, rise. Do a little gate pose here as we draw that left leg out long. Inhale, send your right arm up. As you exhale, lean over to your left. So I'm trying to get us into full compass here, not that twisted chair compass. And to get into compass, you need to have your legs open, hips open, but also the side body. So we're playing a little bit with that while we reach. Exhale, left arm comes down to the ground. Pivot that bottom foot once again. So we're gonna play with that Vishvamitrasana here. So if you just wanna reach your left arm up overhead and stay here, very good. If you wanna play with Vishvamitrasana, make sure that left foot and sole of the foot is all the way down to the ground. Lift that right leg off the ground again. Find the pinky edge side and take the knee to the tricep, knee to the tricep, knee to the tricep, and now start kicking that leg out long once the knee finds the tricep and twist the rib cage open. There we go for 3 and 2. 1, exhale, finding that knee back down to the ground. Lift the self back up into your gate pose. We're gonna do that little camel gate here, tucking the back foot, reaching that right hand behind you. As you inhale, send the left arm up. So we're working hips forward, sternum back. Beautiful. Exhale, release. Okay, let's try the other side. Little snippets. Okay, okay, we already did the left leg. Right leg goes long. We do not want to do the same side twice. Inhale, left arm reaches up as you lean over to the right. So this is what I mean by all levels flow. We have instruction for you to stay in a supported side plank. But if you want to try to go a little further, you can. But by no means is that necessary. And you're still gaining strength and balance wherever you are. Trying to challenge each of us in our own unique capabilities. So we're going to find our way down. Left hand down, left foot pivots. Make sure that right foot is down in the ground. Okay? Now, if you want to play with lifting the leg and you're not used to lifting the leg, you can actually take your right hand to your knee and give yourself a hug. Look at that. You did it. Try it again. Lift it up. And then if you want to try that Vishva, slide your hand down your foot. Take the knee. So this is a hip opening here. Knee to elbow. Knee to elbow. I need to walk my left hand in a bit. It's a little too far out there for me. Knee to elbow. And then start to straighten the left leg. And you want to just say peekaboo whenever you can as you look in between that leg and right arm and look up for 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Bringing that left knee back down to the ground, tucking the back foot. Left arm reaches back, right arm reaches up for that gate camel. Squeeze the shoulder blade behind your back, pushing your hand into your foot so you can push your sternum up here for 1 more breath. Exhale, release. Knees together, child's pose. Finding your way into boat pose. Scooting yourself forward. Boat, Navasana. Coming down halfway, hollow boat. Inhale, rise, boat. And then back down again. And up again. Down again. Up again. Burning our core. Down. And up. Down. Up. Beautiful. Maybe you bring your hands together and cross over to the right. And then over to the left. Over to the right. And the left. Let's do 4 more total. Reach. Just like in the chair, we reach to find more space. Last one. Awesome. Find your way down to your back for a mini Shavasana. Pause and feel. Taking the soles of your feet to the ground. A little windshield wiper the legs. So we're going to do a little bit more core work. Just a little bit. Okay, so this is going to be a low core activation. Kicking your feet up to the sky. Shimming your shoulders so your shoulder scapula are a little bit more closer together behind your back. Put your hands down to the ground and we're going to try to just lift the hips. Okay? So what often happens here is people bring their feet back towards their head. Okay? And we don't want that. We don't want this movement. We want our feet to go up. So it's a little bit of that low core. The deep transverse abdominal muscles are working here. So I'm not having my entire back lift off the ground. I'm not going into shoulder stand or plow. This is all core work. So we want to feel that low core engage. So your hips only might lift the littlest bit. That's fine. Over time, they lift a little higher. Like imagine those blocks are on your feet and you don't want the blocks to fall. They're right up there, okay? Now we're gonna add on to this. Oh goodness me. Lift your legs and hold here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Exhale, drop the knees, windshield wiper side to side. Okay, we're gonna do that again. I know, I know. Okay, this is gonna be a little bit more, always building on, okay? So once again, kicking the feet up high, lift the hips. Lift the hips, keep the hips lifted. Now lift the head and the shoulders, reaching for your feet. Keep that low, the booty lifted, the low back lifted, and we're gonna try to walk to our toes. And maybe you point your toes in here, and the right hand reaches, and then the left hand reaches. Right hand reaches, left hand reaches, right hand. Keep going. We're climbing up that mountain, right? Halfway done. We can see the top. Are your hips lowering? Keep the hips lifted. For 5, 4, 3, lift the head and shoulders a little higher. 2, keep walking, you're almost done. 2, you can do it, I know you can do it. 1, exhale, release. Feet down, windshield wiper. Whew. Find your breath. Okay, so we're gonna have a minute of handstand play before moving into the final flow sequence and then cool down. And so I'm gonna give you a minute to choose, although I do recommend this one pose that I'm going to be demonstrating, but if you don't like facing the wall in that way because it's too scary for you, that's fine. You can just find your way into whatever handstand practice you have right now, whether that means you're doing scissor kicks into the wall, or you kick your feet into the wall, bend the knees and hang out there for a little bit. And then we'll find our way back down into our mats in child's pose, okay? So whenever you're done, you can stay in child's pose for the next minute if you want. Otherwise, play with me. Hopefully you can see what I am doing here. I'm trying to see if my camera angle is good. So there's this door. I'm gonna do my best to, it's a tiny home, you know what I mean? So this is a, basically we're gonna start in downward dog and we're gonna walk our feet up and it's do a handstand tuck, but instead of stacking the hips over the shoulders, which I commonly recommend in handstand, for this handstand, I want you to still have that downward dog slope. So we're gonna have a nice straight line from our head to our hips. Okay, so you can watch me do it first so you have an idea of what I'm talking about. I walk my hands in enough. Start to walk my feet up halfway, hip height, so you can look how high your hips are, look at your feet. Kick your feet into the wall, bring them there. I walk my feet up a little bit higher, and I'm keeping my knees tucked into my chest. And so you can see right now my hips are over my head, but I want to do more of a downward dog. So I'm pushing my heels of my hands into the ground, and then starting to straighten my spine, okay? So my shoulders aren't over my wrists. My shoulders are pushing in towards the wall, like a little back bend puppy pose here. And then draw the belly button in to the spine, or the knees in for a compression here. Okay, and we're gonna hang out here for as long as you can. Keep pushing your hands into the ground, feel the core compress. And then eventually, I'm talking us through this, but I'll show you if you're not hanging upside down with me right now, but you straighten the legs and then start to lower the feet slowly off the wall for sort of like a reverse press. Okay, so I can do that again in case you missed it. You can also press rewind 30 seconds or a minute and start over. That's the beauty of YouTube. Watch it again, okay? So hopefully you saw me well enough to see what I was talking about. But you can see if my hands were too far away, that when I finally straighten my legs to reverse press, I'm not gonna be able to do it because I won't be able to stack my shoulders over my wrists. But it's something you play with, okay? It's play. If you're over your handstand play, find your way in a child's pose. Otherwise, you try one more time with me as you walk your feet up the wall. Push your heels in your hands, chest pushes towards the wall. A little bit of a shoulder opener here. And then if you wanted to play with that reverse press, once you're getting tired, straighten the legs, squeeze those inner feet together, and slowly lower until you come down. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna join all of our friends in a child's pose. Hands come behind me, wrist circles. Okay, so we're gonna find our blocks. Hopefully you have blocks. If you don't have blocks, you don't need them. This is just if you wanna play a little bit. But like I said, you do not need the blocks. This is the final flow of the sequence before we find our way down into our backs for the cool down part. Yay. You're like, where's my compass pose? That's in the cool down part, y'all, because we're gonna be sitting down for that, yeah? I thought so. Okay, find your blocks, place them under your hands. Whenever you're in downward facing dog, that's the distance you want. So wherever your hand's going downward facing dog, do the same with your blocks. It's about shoulder distance apart. Tuck your toes, lift yourself up here. Down dog. So there are ways that you can find your block. You can either hold on here, you can walk yourself a little bit forward. If you'd rather grip your block with your fingertips, it's whatever feels more comfortable for you. And we'll start on the left side. As you inhale, send your left leg up, stack the hips, bend the knee, reach the right heel off the ground. Exhale down. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, exhale. Last one, inhale. Drawing that left knee towards the upper arm, hips stay lifted. Inhale, kick it back out. This time we're gonna take the left knee more like a fire hydrant. So it's coming forward and around to the outer arm. And then inhale, kick it back up. So we're really trying for that rainbow. Bend the knee, rainbow over. Maybe you start to bend that left arm, straighten that left leg. You can take your rib cage, right rib cage into the left or the right side, and then do flying splits here, lifting that right leg off the ground. Beautiful. Exhale, finding your way back down to your knees. Downward facing dog. I'm doing a couple wrist circles here. But we're gonna do the other side. So first we're doing that flying splits. This is the advanced portion of class, yes. And we're gonna try to get ourselves into chin stand from flying splits. Now, if you've never done chin stand before, and you've never done flying splits before, don't worry, I will break it down, okay? So let's come back into that downward dog. We'll try the left side again. Left side lifts up. Rainbow around. Oh, I didn't go far enough. Sorry. See, I'm playing with you. Rainbow around. The cool thing about the blocks is that you can bring your chin down to the ground, yeah? Chin down to the ground. Your shoulders will be on the blocks. And then you start to walk that right leg in. Maybe the left leg lifts. Right leg kicks. Actually, I want to do chin stand in front of that transition. We'll do that transition another day. I don't have enough time to show it all to you. So we'll do the right side flying splits, and then I'll show you chin stand without the transition. And then if you want to play after this video is over without transition, I have a tutorial somewhere. If I don't, I can make you one. Just let me know, okay? This is what happens when I look at the clock and I'm like, oh shoot, we're running out of time. All right, kick that right leg up high. Keep your hands on the blocks. First, you take the knee into the tricep, just leaning yourself forward, playing with that. So you might stay there, continuing to draw the knee in. Otherwise, try to go for more fire hydrant. Rainbow, taking that external rotation, bending the elbows, taking that leg to the shelf of your arm. Right leg kicks out. As you take the left elbow, bend it into your hip. Keep leaning your chest forward, sternum forward, sternum forward. Maybe the left leg floats off the ground. So if you wanted to go into chin stand here, you take your chin down to the ground. Keep lifting that left leg up high, until both shoulders push down, both legs lift. Slowly lower. All right, so you can choose to play with those flying splits, left hand, or left leg, right leg. Or if you want to play with chin stand here, keep your blocks where they are, okay? This time, your hands are gonna come right at the edge of that block. So when you come down, your shoulders have a home. There we go, and your chin can rest right in between the blocks. So play with that, make sure there's space. And then we're gonna come into tabletop position. Left leg reaches out long. Exhale, drop the chin and shoulders down. Left leg lifts. Push the ground away, come back up. So you play with that, shifting your weight forward and down, chin down, shoulders down. Left leg lifts, and then push yourself up. If you want to try to go into chin stand, try that one more time. Head and shoulder, or chin and shoulders down. This time, that right foot, keep the toes tucked, lift the kneecap, float it in, walk it in, walk it in, walk it in. Keep pushing those hands into the ground, and then you do little micro jumps. Micro jump. Micro jump. Get some air time. Squeeze the elbows in. One more breath. Exhale. Slowly lower the way you came. Okay, so we're going to try that one more time because we want to lift the right leg up first. So this asks a lot of your neck, your cervical spine. I'm giving myself a little massage. If you are over any of these poses, find your way down to your back. Do a little mini Shavasana, windshield wiper the legs, okay? We'll be there in like 30 seconds, I promise. If you want to try to do chin stand with your right leg lifted, once again, tabletop position, fingertips right behind your blocks. Right leg kicks up this time. So your work might just be taking your chin and shoulders down to the blocks, right leg lifts, and then pushing yourself back up. Otherwise, if you want to play a little bit more, shift your weight down, tuck the back foot, lift the knee. Right leg keeps lifting while you hop the left leg in. Hop and push. Squeeze those inner thighs towards each other. Squeeze the elbows into your rib cage. Maybe you bend the knees, add a little scorpion here. Shooting your sternum forward. One more breath. Exhale. Oh. Find your way down. Whew. I almost rolled backward. I don't know if you actually can roll backward unless you're a contortionist, but I felt it. All right, wrist circles. Finding your way down to your backs. As I promised, we would join as a class, windshield wiper knees side to side. Slow down your breath. So we're going to come into one more final compass pose. And then we'll do a supine twist and Shavasana. Okay? So we're almost done. Okay. Sitting yourself back up. Keeping your right leg folded in, so it's almost like crisscross applesauce. Right leg stays, left leg reaches up. I feel like, I'm gonna be in Breakfast Club or something. Those late 80s movies. You wanna do that kind of stance? You're really cool right now. Yeah? Exactly. Okay, so to move on from here, to find our way into compass, we want this leg to be extended. We want to be twisting. So how can we do that? Okay. Instead of reaching for that foot up in the air, we bring our foot to us. That's the big thing. You'll notice I always say bend the knee, find your foot. Bend your knee, find your foot. So we're going to do that here. Hug the knee, bend the knee, find your foot. Have your hand on the pinky edge side, so not the big toe side, pinky edge side, wrapping around the top of your foot. Okay, that's step one. Now we're going to take our arm away from hugging our left knee, and we're going to take it down to the inside of that left leg. And the more that you can reach, just like in that twisted crow, that baby compass there, you really want it to reach the belly through. So take the shoulder, bend the torso, reach, reach, reach. Get that left arm as far away as you can. Then start to kick the foot into your hand as you spiral the rib cage open, and you're working on getting your head in between that hand and leg. Root your sit bones, lean forward slightly. So notice if you're doing that little posterior tilt, rock gently forward. Maybe you point that left leg or flex, depends on your own flexibility. Keep reaching. This is asking a lot of flexibility here, so don't worry where you are. You might be here. I was there for a very long time. The trick is to really get that shoulder through. You want to get the shoulder under, and reach. So this hand is supporting me. I'm putting all my weight in this left hand basically, so I can lean. Okay, exhale. How'd that go? Good? Maybe? You can always comment below. I will read your comments and I will make my videos to grow from there. So if you feel stuck somewhere, like you just couldn't, there's one piece missing in a certain part of your body, just let me know, and next time we can work on that, okay? I'm not a scary teacher. I'm not gonna bite you. Okay, so now we're gonna be cool on the other side. Our right side's cool. Yeah. I got nowhere to be. I really don't. I'm here 24/7, all the time. Yeah. Okay, so now we wanna see, can we find compass on this side? Lean back slightly so we can find weight on our sit bones, so we can find that right foot. The left hand crosses over, right foot. Let go. Okay, cool. Right hand goes through that hole you just created. Little tuck, scoop. Find your right hand down to the side. So I'm doing a little leaning action, a little rowboat. Lean to the side and then start to kick, extending that right leg. So I can already tell that I didn't put my shoulder underneath enough. So I can't, my arm is just physically not be my arm. See, I can't go any straighter, right? I have to get my leg up higher. So that's why it really needs to go underneath the shoulder. So you can reach and do that, but the higher you can get it, especially for proportion weird like me, the better. So get it high and then start to kick the leg up long, because you can see now my arm has more space and I can start walking that right hand out a little bit, leaning, twisting my rib cage open to the left. Are you leaning back? See if you can lean forward just a little bit. Keep twisting. And this is a pose that if you hang out in long enough, you'll start to feel things open. You'll feel your shoulders open a little more. You'll feel your legs open up, your hips open up. It's asking a lot out of your body to be here. Exhale. Yay! We did it. We did the best we could. That's all we can do. Okay, let's find our way down onto our backs. Give yourself a hug. Give yourself the biggest hug. Squeeze a little tighter. Okay. Dropping your feet down to the ground. Pushing your shoulder blades into the, shimmying them a little closer together, and then once again, windshield wiping those knees. So usually I do a back bending practice, but then you have to follow with forward folds, and I think we're pretty good right now. We didn't do an immense amount of back bends today. We just opened it enough so our shoulders could open up, hopefully. That was the goal. But if you feel like you need a back bend, go ahead. Do your back bend, press pause, and then press play when you're done. It's that easy. You get to make your own practice. Otherwise, we're going to start our supine twist, walking our feet together. Maybe you go for eagle legs, crossing the right leg over the left, or maybe just keep the knees on top of each other and allow the legs to fall over to the left. Arms go out wide. So we're going to do a little wax on, wax off here as we take our right hand, reach it for the left. Now they're pressing into each other. And then slide the right hand. It's going to gracefully slide up the left arm, so soft, across the chest and back open again. Close your eyes here so you can feel the movement. Bring the hands back together. And then slide, so soft, a gentle caress, all the way until you're open. You're going to do that a few more times until you find your way into your twist and stay there. Last one. Until you're resting on your back, fingertips reaching away from each other, hips moving away from your head. Keeping your eyes closed, bringing your knees up, unhooking your legs if you went for the eagle legs, and just take a moment between sides to feel. What side feels softer, a little more open? You might feel tingling sensation. Okay, we're going to switch sides. Knees go to the right, gaze to your left. And then once again, left hand reaches for the right palm. Slide the left hand up the whole arm across the collarbone and open out wide. And keep your eyes closed, moving with your breath. It's like a little dance. And maybe you start reciting some words of affirmation. Remembering those gifts. Taking a moment to be reflective on the good. 2 more. And on your last one, keeping the arms reaching away from each other. And be here for a few breaths. Where can you soften? Slowly unwinding. Feet come down to the earth. Walking your feet out off the mat if you can. Maybe just to the edges of the mat, and then bringing your knees together. One hand comes to the heart, the other comes to the belly. So we're going to come into Shavasana from here. If you'd like to do a little hero's pose, feel free to take that left foot, lean over to the right side, and then sit back down again. This can be really intense on the quads. I really like to do it right before my Shavasana. If you ever practice next to me and I'm not teaching, I usually add this in while everybody's sleeping with their eyes closed, yeah. like a half hero. And switch sides. If you chose to go there, you roll to the left side, bend the knee, reach for the foot, and then roll back down. If you're in Shavasana, let your legs reach out long. Long legs, long arms. Relax your fingertips and your toe tips. Push the heart up slightly. Shimmy the shoulders a little closer together. And then let your body relax again back into the ground. If you're still in heroes, find your way out. Join us in Shavasana. And let's bring awareness to the space around our heart. Keeping your eyes closed, noticing your breath here. Sorry. Maybe the outer edge corners of your mouth turn up slightly. Just a slight smile, not forced, gentle. It's like the smile of Buddha or the smile of Jesus, a smile of your guru. See them smiling back at you and return the warmth, return the loving gaze. And imagine if you walked around all the time with a little smile on your face, a little twinkle in your eye. How softer those around you will react. How you may enter difficulties with a little bit more compassion. So see if you can hold on to that gentle smile, not only on your face, but inside your heart. We'll be here another minute or so. If you want to stay a little longer, feel free. Are you still smiling? Starting to take a deeper breath. Holding in that sensation that you developed, maybe a little lightness or joy or love. And then reach your arms up overhead for a nice deep stretch. Slowly roll to one side. Push yourself up to a comfortable seat. Bringing your hands to heart center, eyes remain closed. Hands come to heart center and just notice how you feel. You still have that little smile in your heart, maybe on your face. We'll close with one Om. Inhale. Exhale everything out. Inhale. Hands to forehead. Be light and shine. Hands to heart. Be light and love. Namaste. So thank you so much for playing with me today. I hope that you were able to go a little deeper into some poses that you've been practicing. And if it's the first time you've tried something, congratulate yourself for trying it. The first time I tried downward facing dog, I'm sure I looked like a complete fool. And then by about the 10,000th time, you're like, I think I got it. But even then, I know I don't. There's always room to grow. If you're feeling a little sore later, like right now, you might want to give yourself a little neck massage, especially if you end up doing that chin stand. It's really nice to give your neck a little bit more tender love right now.